Also, there is this guy. He's a sailor who fancies himself a singer. Now, if we say we're not captivated by his singing, we get to battle him. Sailor Boss, I guess he's boasting about his singing. And he has some fairly weak Pokemon, but this is a good testing ground for our new Shadow Teddiursa. In XD, Shadow Pokemon are actually very helpful to have on your team for one very specific reason. Also, you might notice something, Teddiursa purifies very quickly. The early Shadow Pokemon you get do that. But I'm going to be attacking this Marill with Eevee, but I'm also going to be using these things. So, we can't use these moves yet. But at the moment, Teddiursa knows two unique Shadow moves. Shadow Blitz and Shadow Mist. Unlike Colosseum, Shadow Rush is not the only Shadow move that we have. Shadow moves are also quite different to the way they work in Colosseum for one very important reason that I will be showing now. Okay, Eevee is faster than Teddiursa, that kind of makes sense. That's a 3 KO, that's not really that promising. So, we're going to go ahead and use Shadow Blitz here. Super effective! Shadow moves are super effective against non-Shadow Pokemon, which, as you can tell, is pretty amazing. Shadow moves are also kind of a prototype to the physical special split, in that they're classed as physical or special based logically on what they are. Shadow Blitz is a tackle, so it's a physical move. Specifically, it's a physical move with 40 power and 100 accuracy. This makes it effectively 80 base power most of the time in this game. So, Shadow Pokemon are quite valuable because of this. They're really powerful due to their ability to hit super effectively on every normal Pokemon, regardless of type. That is kind of funny because of, I just think of the best when I think of that. We also get an item out of this. Disturbingly, that's the TM for Attract. And, yeah, he's still singing weirdly. So, our first port of call, no pun intended in this place, is over here. You might notice someone on the bridge there, and I was just close to talking to that NPC. He's also going to demonstrate to us how these bridges work. Oh yeah, by the way, that boat over there, that's Mr. Verich's cruiser they were referring to. It looks more like a reasonably large speedboat than a luxury cruiser, though. So this is Per from the part shop. Yeah, his grandpa is off at Dr. Kaminko's, but we don't need his grandpa here. We've got this guy monitoring the shop. He can get the machine part for us. Also, Per is in fact one of the kids from Pokemon Colosseum grown up, which is pretty cool. Also, I can talk to this dude now. So, already shown how that works. This is kind of a quasi-puzzle. First though, let's go and grab the machine part from Per. That's really what we came here for. Then it's on to side stuff in Gateon Port. There's actually quite a lot of it. Also, this big safe, just one little part, and doesn't look like there's anything behind there, but I guess graphical limitations. Still looks cool seeing it open, though. I feel like there's another Pokemon game that has a machine part key item too. I think it's Gold and Silver. So we need to give it to Professor Crane. Unfortunately, he was abducted. So yeah, he's alluding to Colosseum. At the moment, though, we don't really have any leads, other than we should probably head on back to the Pokemon HQ lab. But before we do that, it's recommended that you take some time to explore the city, because you might find some interesting things here. Firstly, let's go ahead and press this button. Notice that this also moves the other bridge. That is going to be relevant. Also, I pity whoever lives here. He isn't able to leave his house, and yeah, I know it's a he already. This guy. He's not able to leave his house unless someone else presses the button on the bridge. He can't move the bridge himself. Oh yeah, I should probably talk to you again, because this is actually very significant. So there's an island far off the coast that's surrounded by vicious ocean currents. But no one would want to go there even if it wasn't surrounded by vicious currents. That's interesting. So here, we can't get to this bridge yet, so let's move the bridge again. I think this button would do it. Actually, no. This kind of almost puts things back where they started, and one more press of this. Yeah, I did this the most inefficient way that I could, but actually now we have a pretty clear path back and all the way over here, which is where we needed to go. So what you really want to do is head out to this little patch of land here, but actually no, I should probably take this on first. So, let's talk to this guy. We can battle him. You definitely want to battle this guy. Although, something to note is that all of this is entirely optional. In a speedrun of XD that I watched recently, you can just leave after you get the machine part. You don't have to do any of this. But, if you're doing a main playthrough, you definitely want to go for this. Well, I mean, this one's not that good of a reward, but there's one other good reward in this city. Also, all the experience helps. A random guy has a Shadow Pokemon. Unfortunately, it's a Ladybug. Here's a good opportunity to teach you another aspect about Shadow moves. So let's go ahead and try and use Shadow Blitz on Ladybug. Also, I haven't explained what Shadow Mist does. Shadow Mist, I believe, sharply lowers the evasion of all opponents. It's really not that great of a move. Shadow Shed, I believe, eliminates the effects of any hold items that a Pokemon has. But you can see there that Shadow moves are not very effective against other Shadow Pokemon. This actually doesn't make any Shadow Pokemon any worse. If anything, it makes them even better. It means that they're good tanks against opposing Shadow Pokemon, and they're great for catching opposing Shadow Pokemon, because you want to be hitting them with not very effective moves. Would appreciate that critical hit earlier, but still. Actually, I kind of wish that Taylor was a Shadow Pokemon here and not the Ladybug. Guess we might be seeing something here. Even with super effective, Ladybug is not going to be hitting that hard. But I'm going to catch it for completion purposes anyway. I'm going to actually go for Sand Attack here, just to kind of debilitate it a little. Because you only have 4 Pokeballs, counting the one that you used against the Shadow Teddiursa, which you always will. And that means that this is kind of, basically you can't buy Pokeballs yet, so you don't want to waste them on Pokemon breaking out too much. Gonna go for another Sand Attack. So I'm gonna be better safe than sorry here. There is that useless Shadow Shed again. Now, there is one other aspect of Shadow Pokemon in this game that we will be seeing eventually, but I'm not sure if we'll be seeing Teddiursa do it now. It's related to something they did in Pokemon Colosseum, but it's a little different now. Oh yeah, one other thing that I could mention, there was something that I wanted to mention before, but my mind kind of went blank, is that one great thing about Shadow moves now, they don't have recoil anymore, which makes catching Shadow Pokemon a lot better. Aha! There it is! Okay, that's Reverse Mode. This is kind of like Hyper Mode. However, unlike Hyper Mode, Reverse Mode is entirely negative. As you saw there, a Pokemon in Reverse Mode hurts itself every turn. Reverse Mode, unlike Hyper Mode, does not increase the critical hit ratio of Shadow moves. There is no reason to remain in Reverse Mode. Other than that, it's exactly the same as Hyper Mode. Pokemon in it won't be able to use moves other than Shadow moves without possibly not obeying you. You call them to get out of it, and Pokemon in Reverse Mode can't have items used on them. So I'm going to go ahead and call Teddiursa. There is actually something new to the call command in this game that I haven't gone into yet. Using the call command on a Pokemon that is not in Hyper Mode will raise their accuracy. This feature was not present in Colosseum. Okay, I think I'm going to stop messing around here and just go ahead and try and catch this thing. Using the Pokeball. And I've regained the move Lick, which actually is not a bad move to be using against Shadow Pokemon. It's very weak and it can possibly paralyze. Firstly though, let's see if I can do this without paralysis. 1. No. Oh, okay. Wow, that was surprising. Like I said, I want to be very careful catching this Ladybug, because I don't want to waste my Pokeballs. We can't actually buy them yet. Come on, Paralysis. Nice, okay, I'm going to throw another Pokeball now. And I'll go for Lick on Teddiursa, because even a crit Lick probably won't finish this thing off. One, two, three. Ladybug get. Oh no, it's Ladybug slash Ladian again. While Ladian is still, in my opinion, one of the worst fully evolved Pokemon in existence, don't despair, because this Ladybug has at least a few things worthwhile in the extreme early game. Ladybug is a bug flying type that evolves reasonably early at level 18, but its stats really don't get that much better on evolution. It's got good special defense and slightly above average speed, but the rest of its stats are horrendous. It can't attack at all, and its awful defense and HP really invalidates its good special defense. It's got the same issue as Flareon in that regard, only even worse. Its typing also gives it a lot of weaknesses, and neither of its abilities help it very much. But for one reason exactly, Ladybug can be not that awful in the very early game of XD, thanks to one move that it starts out with. Well, it's the first one it regains through Purification. Aerial Ace. While its attack stat is terrible, this early in the game, a base 60 power move with same type attack bonus isn't bad. You might be surprised at how much damage Ladybug does with this early on. It'll also get Supersonic, which is not worth it for its accuracy, and on Purification it regains Psybeam, which is normally an egg move for Ladybug. It'll also get its XD exclusive move, Refresh again. Here it's also pretty bad, because Ladybug gets Safeguard anyway to prevent it from being status in the first place. Yeah, sad to say, about 80% of XD exclusive moves aren't worth it. The 20% that are, though, are very good. Ladybug just doesn't happen to have one of them. For level up moves, Ladybug, well, as a Ladian, will eventually learn Light Screen, Reflect, and Safeguard all at the same level. Baton Pass is an okay option, but you'll need to get to a very high level to learn a stat boosting move to use with that. As far as TMs go, I would recommend only using more defensive or support moves like Toxic or even Attract. For tutor moves, Swagger, I guess, is an option. So overall, Ladybug slash Ladian is really not worth it past the extreme early game. But during that time, it's actually not that horrible, so that's something, I guess. And so we've beaten this guy, who I can't help but feel really bad for. Because if we talk to him after this... that was just an illusion, it didn't really happen. And if we talk to him again... I mean, the first game didn't really go into trainers losing their Pokemon and, like, how they feel about it with the Snag Machine, but... it just makes you feel kind of bad that. Although, obviously, the gift was from Cypher, and they were really just using him to try and cause more chaos, so it's probably for the best we steal it. Also, you can access this house here if you move the bridge, though there's really nothing important in here. Just talks more about the cruiser. But there is one more place that we can see, now that we have the bridge in this configuration, and that's the lighthouse. You definitely want to make sure you go to the lighthouse. There's something important to get there, and it's not this item box. In this item box, though, we find 3 Pokeballs. Again, helpful since we can't buy those just yet. Now, inside the lighthouse is interesting. You can use the elevator to skip straight to the roof, or you can go up the stairs. The stairs give you some more items, so I'm going to go ahead and take the stairs for now. But it's not that necessary, you can just skip straight to the roof if you want to. It's kind of funny, there's a person in here who will lampshade it if you end up taking the stairs. But there are some items to find in here. If we talk to her... No, I'm doing this for the items. This place is oddly labyrinthine for an area that has no trainers in it or anything like that, so kind of weird that. Okay, there's an item over there, but getting to it is a little tricky. It's kind of hard to see the wall that's there. Gotta go around that wall and grab this. One awakening, which is useless in this game because of the call command, which still awakens from sleep, so yeah. Just noticed that Jovi seems to be better about not getting stuck on random objects compared to Rui in the previous game. That's really disturbing. Okay, can't go that way. We have to go through here. Again, the interior of the lighthouse is more confusing than it needs to be. But now we're up on top. We can get a good view of the town from here, but the real reason we came here was this lady. I wonder what that implies. It's pretty obvious. I guess now I should probably mention this battle theme. Most of the battle themes in XD are new, and they are quite good, but the annoying thing about them is they have very short loops. You've probably already noticed it by now, but this battle theme in particular is a really, really short loop. Now, as weird as this seems, I'm gonna go ahead and switch out Eevee for Ladybird here, because Poochyena is a much stronger Pokemon than Ladybird, and with super effective moves, it might actually be hurting Eevee quite a bit. I haven't healed Ladybird. It's fine, I'm mainly using Ladybird to tank anyway. Now, gonna get that Zubat off the field first. Something about this game, I've been saying before how healthy Shadow Pokemon are to have. In this game, it might be worthwhile to plan out a team with only 4 non-Shadow Pokemon as your main party, and reserving the remaining 2 slots for Shadow Pokemon that you gradually... good thing that I switched out before. Shadow Hold prevents the entire field from switching out. It's more annoying when used on you than when you use it on them, because the AI almost never switches. But anyway, like I was saying, I want to use Lick to paralyze that Poochyena. Shadow Pokemon are very useful to have, and saving a couple of slots on your team for Shadow Pokemon is helpful. They're great both offensively and defensively, and some of the Shadow moves have very unique effects that's kind of hard to replicate with normal Pokemon. I really don't care about Ladybird being paralyzed. I could go for a Pokeball right now, and you know what? I think that's what I'll do. And I guess I'll just go for... yeah, I'll go for Shadow Blitz. If I'm lucky here, I'll get this Poochyena first ball, but now that I've said it, I probably just jinx myself. 1, 2, 3. Poochyena gets! Way easier than that Ladybird was, ironically. Poochyena, one of the signature early game Pokemon of Hoenn. So how does it fare here? Well, pretty similarly. Poochyena evolves very early in the game, and has decent stats for the point that it evolves. It also has the amazing Intimidate ability on evolution, which is definitely worthwhile in a game that's all double battles. I mean, it's great even in singles, but in doubles it's even better. However, Mightyena, while it does look very cool, will definitely fall behind in stats later on in the game. Even around the mid-game, its stats aren't that great. It also suffers from being yet another primarily physical Dark type in a generation where all Dark moves are special. This really hurts this Poochyena especially, because its starting moves lack a lot of power. The first thing it regains will be Poison Fang, which is normally an egg move. It only has 50 base power though. It does have a chance to Toxic Poison, but its very weak power will definitely show. Howl goes some way to making up for that though, boosting your attack stat. On Purification, you'll regain Dig, which again suffers from bad power, and Poochyena's XD exclusive move, which thankfully is a lot better than the ones we've been seeing so far. Heal Bell cures your entire party, even those that aren't currently on the field, of status problems, assuming they don't have the Soundproof ability. Yes, Soundproof even blocks beneficial sound-based moves from your own team. While Poochyena itself is not the best user of Heal Bell, it is an excellent XD exclusive move, especially during the main story, where having a free full status heal on your party will save you a lot of money on status curing items. Poochyena and Mightyena might be worth keeping in your party for that alone. It'll actually serve you pretty well all throughout the game. But like I said, Poochyetta's biggest weakness is that its attacking moves that it starts with have very low power, and sadly its level up move pool doesn't really do much to remedy that. The best physical move it learns by level up is Takedown, which isn't that great. Sure, you do get Bite and Crunch, but they're special base moves, and Mightyena's special attack is not good. You do get some okay support options though. Taunt is nice, and Mightyena is at least faster than Umbreon to make use of it. It's also one of the few things to learn Swagger without needing the move tutor, so that's kinda good. And Roar can help if you have an opposing Pokemon you want to get off the field quickly. As far as TMs go, the main one is Shadow Ball. Return is better than Takedown, but Shadow Ball is the real option here. Despite the fact that its coverage is redundant with Dark, you're probably better off using it than Dark moves on a Pokemon with this good attack, and this bad special attack. And like a lot of Pokemon, Mightyena gets Body Slam and Double Edge from the move tutors. Overall, Poochyetter is an option that's good early on, but falls off towards mid to late game. Even early on though, it suffers from a major lack of power on its starting moveset, and it won't get much in the way of power for a while. I'd still recommend using it for a little while, but later its only real strengths are Intimidate and Heal Bell. Those are two good strengths though. So that was a pretty quick battle. It's actually not that weak. Surprisingly, one of the more useful early game Shadow Pokemon. Huh, you joined. Well, it's a good thing we stopped your ambitions before they got out of hand. If you talk to her again... Yeah, that's why she doesn't have a Cypher uniform. Well, I mean, I suppose I shouldn't have mentioned that name, but it's obvious they're Cypher. We can go back down the elevator. Now, our Pokemon are in pretty rough shape from all those battles, but thankfully, that's what we'll be visiting next in this city, somewhere that will remedy that. Just hope that I get the quote-unquote puzzle here right. So, I need to rotate this so that the bridge is in the right configuration. I want to say it's this one? Nope, wrong. I had a feeling that I would be. Okay, pressing this button should get things looking good again. Yeah, there we go. The bridge connects here, and this one connects back to land. I always like these bridges, though. It was kind of a cool concept. So, let's go ahead and check out the right-hand side of the city, where there's a building that will be very familiar to anyone who's played a Pokemon game, and it's something that I really do need right now. Definitely. Also, I haven't actually talked to you yet. Senior Citizen Romance! Oh yeah, I already talked to you. So let's see what's over this side of town. There was another NPC in another Pokemon game who was similar to this, but my love lines like this, no? Yeah, he's gonna explain what a Pokemon Center is. And that there is a Pokemart, although it says shop there because they're called friendly shops in Japanese. So, let's go ahead and use the Pokemon Center since we kind of need to at this point. The Pokemon Center theme is slightly different compared to Colosseum. 4 Pokemon already. Our team is certainly growing. Unfortunately, 3 of them are Shadow Pokemon. Actually, not that unfortunately. They're still quite useful in that state. So yeah, as always, Pokemon Centers are free, and they restore your Pokemon to perfect health. And they always hope to see you again, even though that means your Pokemon getting beaten up more. There's also this guy here. And yeah, there's also the PC. I guess I can show how the PC works, just to show off that there isn't a save option here anymore. We just have the Pokemon storage and item storage. Also, there are a lot more boxes than back in Colosseum. There is a very good reason for this, which we'll be getting to quite a bit later. Also, the item PC. A relic of the past. In fact, I think this will be the last game the item PC would appear in, because Diamond and Pearl turned the bag into a TARDIS, if I remember right. Yeah, there are probably some people these days who, who've only started with the series as adults. There's really not much interesting on the upper floor of the Pokemon Center. I just like to show it off because, well, I like to show everything in these places. But next, let's check out the Pokemart. We've got a lot of money, and here's a place where we can spend it. And there's a sailor here, just like a lot of the population of this town. Trying to intimidate this guy into giving him a discount. What is he, a Dungeons & Dragons player? Also, I kind of like this. This guy is new here, so he's pretty nervous. And we can buy stuff. Potion, antidote, no Pokeballs from here, unfortunately. I might as well take a couple of extra potions, though, while I'm here. Just 3 more. I like to save most of my money for Pokeballs, but we don't have access to those just yet, as I keep reminding you. But it's always annoying whenever you can't buy Pokeballs. That makes sense, except there's no surfing in this game, so you can't really get caught out at sea with no healing, because you won't be fighting out at sea. But this guy does give you a free potion, so make sure to talk to him. Upstairs, though... Oh, actually, this is interesting. If you come here before you got the machine part, I probably should have shown that off earlier. The Munchlax is blocking the stairs. Yes, congratulations! You just prevented your store from ever selling an Awakening ever again, except to hapless dupes. So, yeah, good job. You're not the same herbal medicine lady as from Colosseum, are you? And yeah, that is indeed a Munchlax. It's a Gen 4 cameo. There are quite a few Gen 4 references in this game. And with Shadow Moves being essentially a prototype physical special split, I wonder if these games were made knowing stuff that would happen in Diamond and Pearl. Also, there's a chaser here. Yes, you are totally a cultured type. Also, there's some pretty bizarre and... Actually, first, before we go there, this guy is like, welcome to the Krabby Club, how tough are you? So, he challenges us to a battle. Also, that name is actually an insult in British English, so, good thing there hasn't been a Britain-based Pokemon region at the time I record this. Normally, I would be evolving my EV by now, but I'm kind of interested to see if I can actually go and, go ahead and get some Helping Hand later on. I've never done that in a playthrough before. It's not really that far off, and as long as you evolve your EV before level 15, you should be set. There's not really that much in the way of interesting moves that its evolutions learn until then. But make sure you don't have your EV go above level 15, because at level 16, all of its evolutions learn their first stab move, or same type attack bonus move. You don't want to miss out on that. Trust me, I learned that the hard way when I first played Black and White 2. I evolved my EV into Vaporeon way too late, and I didn't have any good water moves until after Clay. That was painful. That was extremely painful. But hey, how tough are we? We beat Navigator Burke. That's really not that hard of a thing to do. I should probably swap in Poochyena. Poochyena needs a little bit of attention. So yeah, that's experience points, but Shadow Pokemon don't get experience. Also, this guy is a jerk. Turns out there was no rule, and he just wanted to battle us just for the fun of it. Anyway, these two have some pretty bizarre dialogue. Also, yeah, Scared Witless. Nice, getting crap past the radar there. That guy is like a human Wobbuffet. That makes more sense in Japanese, where Wobbuffet's name is like, that's right, so it becomes a conversation if you say it. Also, I kind of like the music in this place. Here's the Krabby Club we've been hearing about. And Mr. Verich is, everything's on him today. Oh, also, yeah, this guy was gonna be on the SS Libra, but, he slept in. So, yeah. Luckiest guy in this town. Yeah, we've heard about that. Speaking of getting crap past the radar... Yeah, an act here with these sailors staring, and lines like this. Yeah. Also, the fact this place is basically a bar, and they didn't even really censor it. Why would he do that, though? What does he possibly have to gain? Also, there's a new news report if you check the TV. So yeah, the news now knows about the abduction at the lab. And they know about a shadow Pokemon being used, so it seems like word is spreading pretty fast. If we go upstairs, though, we can see, yep, there's Mr. Verich and those two suspiciously unique model people. Oh, there's a happiness checker here. Guess Eevee already starts with a bit of happiness. What happens if you check out a shadow Pokemon, though? Actually, forgot there was a happiness checker here. This is mainly if you're using return. Yeah, so he gives you a bit of a hint as to how to purify shadow Pokemon. Now, you can't actually talk to Mr. Verich here directly, I believe, but you can talk to these two. This guy will now be known as Mr. Coolman. And he has some pretty cold dialogue. He's definitely not a villain at all. Also, this is the first time we're seeing him speak. Yeah, I don't think you can actually talk to Mr. Verich himself here. There is one other thing, well, actually a few other things to see here. If you go up here and rush the stage! Also, I find it amusing how they have not batons, they're like juggling, whatever those things are called. How they just spontaneously change colours in midair. But upstairs, though, we've got a few more people to talk to. Again, this isn't essential, but I like to talk to everyone in every town. Yeah, they seem to be pretty famous here for certain reasons that I probably shouldn't explain in a children's game. But there's the Krabby couple down here. Krabby, a Pokemon we didn't actually see during Colosseum. And they've got a rivalry going with those two magicians down there. Krabilly and Krabetty. And they're gonna just do some animations. We are sitting here doing what happens if you call us. Sadly, I don't think they ever end up performing, or actually they might later in the game, I forget. Also, these crystals change colour too, didn't notice that before. Anyway though, there is nothing left for us in the Krabby Club, and I believe there's nothing left for us to do in Gateon Port. We've done everything. Before we head back to the HQ lab and deliver the machine part, though, there's one more thing that I want to take care of. This is optional, but something that will happen later in the game will make a bit less sense if you don't do this. So, I'm going to go back and do this. If you go back to Professor Kaminko's manor, or Dr. Kaminko, keep confusing that. It's kind of funny. Almost all the professors in the Pokemon games were doctors in the Japanese version. Professor Oak was a doctor, Professor Elm was a doctor. Kind of weird how they changed their titles arbitrarily. But if we head back to Kaminko's manor, I'm going to go ahead and show off Poochyena here. Also, if you check out our Shadow Pokemon, you'll notice that a lot of them are being purified quite a lot just by staying in our party. The early Shadows you get are very quick to purify. Also, oh, hey, you have a Lax nature too. Don't know the nature of the other two, though. Kind of hope they're good. So, if you try and enter Kaminko's manor again... Uh-oh. Even though we have Jovi with us, who he clearly knows, Chobin still mistakes us for a burglar. So we get to fight him again. This battle is optional, but like I said, some things later on in the game won't make sense unless you do this fight. He's now added a brilliant addition to his team. A Magikarp. Yeah. So Pokemon with the worst base stat total and a Pokemon with the worst move ever. Yeah, this guy's theme is pretty much being the worst at everything. So, let's just... I really have no idea. Let's just, that's cool. I should probably show that off against the... I'll hit the Magikarp and I'll Poison Fang the Sunkern. Even though... Actually, no, wait. Poison Fang's 50 power. That'll be hitting harder than Shadow Blitz. Gotta remember, Shadow move super effectiveness versus regular move super effectiveness. If I end this battle now, I'm not going to be able to call you out of that for a little while. Let's go for Poison Fang, though. And I did end this battle now, so poor Teddiursa is going to have to be stuck in reverse mode for a bit. Different natures have different rates of going into reverse mode, and different natures purify faster at different things. And Chobin lost again. And he's realized that we're not a burglar. I think if you do this fight after Jovi leaves you, there's a bit of different dialogue. I want to see if the grandfather is still here, though. Yeah, he is. What's taking you so long? But we get to explain what happened. Well, now I wasn't spoiling things by saying the term cipher before. So we have to deliver that machine part. This is optional, but it gives you a little bit of interesting dialogue. Also, speaking of optional interesting dialogue... Yeah, you probably shouldn't have been saying that out loud. Once again, though, you might want to remember that. That's maybe going to be important later. But not for the reasons you might be thinking. Yes, they are. Yes, Jovi, trying to take short-sighted people's glasses. Again, she is not in this game for long, thankfully.